Water, also called dihydrogen monoxide, is a substance composed of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. That is why water is sometimes called H2O, with H representing the element of hydrogen and O representing the element of oxygen. H2O molecules attract each other in cohesion with hydrogen bonds, so they essentially stick together. H2O is the only substance on Earth to occur naturally in 3 forms: liquid, solid, and gas. Water goes through a cycle called the hydrologic cycle, which is the continuous circulation of water on Earth and through the atmosphere. Throughout this cycle, water goes through many complex stages and processes. The most important processes are evaporation, condensation, precipitation, runoff, transpiration, and infiltration. Water is one of the most basic elements in nature. We as humans use this precious resource daily to drink, take a shower, brush our teeth, do laundry, wash our hands, and much more. As a universal resource, water is just as important to plants and animals as well. All organisms are dependent on water for their survival. For marine organisms, water is their habitat. Over 71% of the planet Earth is covered in water. 97% of the water on Earth is salt water in the ocean. 3% of the water on Earth is fresh water, but 2/3 of fresh water is stored in ice caps. Only 1% of water on Earth is available for organisms to use, found in groundwater, streams, water vapor, rivers, and lakes. With such a scarcity of this essential resource that we need to survive, keeping water clean and not wasting it is very important. Sadly, the water on Earth is becoming increasingly polluted. The main reason why is because of human activities. Pollution has a tremendous impact on many species of organisms living and depending on water. Because of water pollution, many species of animals are dying out as a result of the lack of clean and healthy water to drink and live in. 1/3 of humans, especially in third world countries, did not have access to clean, drinkable water, and as a result, often get diseases from the contaminated water such as cholera and dysentery. There are many ways that water can become polluted. They include runoff from agricultural operations, dumping of industrial waste into bodies of water, sewage and wastewater runoff, oil spills, leaking from underground pipes, and chemical fertilizers and pesticides. These fall under the many different types of pollution, which include inorganic pollution, toxic pollution, and thermal pollution. To determine the water quality of a body of water, scientists look at water quality indicators. Water quality indicators include temperature, dissolved oxygen, biochemical oxygen demand, salinity, turbidity, pH levels, nitrogen, phosphates, total solids, and fecal coliform. Water that is polluted often has a high turbidity, meaning that the color of the water is very dark due to the concentrated amounts of suspended sediments from runoff and wastewater pipes. The suspended sediments inhibit sunlight from reaching the bottom of the water, decreasing photosynthesis. Often, toxic chemicals and pathogens get attached to the sediments, making it a double threat. While indicators such as turbidity can be seen by the eye, for other indicators such as dissolved oxygen and biochemical oxygen demand, scientists use testing kits to find out the amount of an indicator that is in the water. This will help them determine how polluted the water is and where the pollutants could possibly come from. When a pollutant enters a water system, it can release chemical toxins and wastes into the water. Pollutants can change the amount of an indicator in the water. For example, agricultural runoff includes many fertilizers, mainly containing nitrogen and phosphate. These nutrients help algae living in the water to grow rapidly, which is called accelerated eutrophication. As a result, the blooming algae uses up all the oxygen in the water, causing a decline in dissolved oxygen levels, which results in the deaths of many organisms because of suffocation. Another example of pollution affecting water quality indicators is the growing problem of climate change. Because of climate change, the levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere are increasing. The ocean is a carbon sink, meaning it absorbs much of the atmosphere's greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide. Excess amounts of carbon dioxide causes the ocean's temperature and acidity to increase because of carbon's chemical reaction with water. Many animals are not tolerant of this change and may die out. Temperature and pH change also affects marine organisms' metabolic rate and reproductive organs. Increased temperature in ocean water causes coral bleaching because the temperature change stresses the coral and causes them to lose their symbiotic relationship with zooxanthellae, which are teeny plant cells that give coral polyps color and provide food from photosynthesis. Another way to determine a water ecosystem's health is by looking at the organisms that live in it. These organisms are called bioindicators. Bioindicators can include plants, animals, and microorganisms, such as E. coli and sea urchins. Since organisms are sensitive, changes in the water, such as the presence of pollutants, can cause them to alter their behaviors. Not all organisms can be bioindicators, as some are either too sensitive or too tolerant to changes in the water ecosystems. 96% of water pollution comes from non-point sources, which are sources that come from many different places and are not specifically known. This makes it hard for scientists to control and manage where water pollution is coming from, and therefore are unable to control the problem. However, many scientists and industries are working together to help clean up polluted water and create better wastewater management plans. Water pollution is a growing problem that has a large impact on our planet. Across the web, there are many photos of marine life getting stuck in fishing nets or consuming plastic waste. Another issue that became well known was the Flint water crisis, where the water system in Flint, Michigan became unsafe to use as the water became discolored and was tested for high levels of lead. Problems like these are occurring all over the globe. Luckily, there are many life-saving devices that make even the dirtiest water safe to drink. However, many people around the world are still not able to receive these much-needed devices. There are also pounds of plastic and fishing nets floating in the ocean that still suffocate and kill marine organisms every day. One easy thing we can do is to not litter. As much as it is a cliche, it's true. Litter on the ground gets swept up into drainage systems, which flows into bodies of water where it can collect and potentially suffocate organisms. Also, we need to understand how to properly dispose of harmful contaminants, such as pesticides, soap, oil, and fertilizers, because if they're not properly disposed, they can end up in waterways. Another thing we can do is to conserve water and not waste it. Some ways that we can conserve water are to take shorter showers and turn off the sink while brushing your teeth. While clean water to you may seem like something that is always accessible, to others it is a luxury. Clean water doesn't just flow in a pipe to your home from a water source, it goes through many stages of filtration and bacteria removal. It costs the United States around $12 billion. And is expected to double in a decade. We can spread the awareness of conserving and keeping water clean by telling our friends and family members. It will take individual and collective efforts to help make sure water systems and habitats are safe to drink and suitable for organisms to live in. Water is such a precious resource that our planet cannot survive without. It's what makes Earth, Earth. Everything on this planet depends on it one way or another. So it's our job to keep H2O clean and healthy, not just for ourselves, but for the future generations to come.